So we're seeing the final boss of Kagurabachi return in this chapter. Or should I say, one of two possible candidates for the final boss of this series. We've got this one guy, Yura, who is the straight up leader of the Hishaku. So naturally this guy has got to be like the Madara of this series, right? Even though Madara technically wasn't the final boss of Naruto, you know what I mean. However, this other guy from the Hishaku shows up at the end of this chapter, and I'm pretty sure this guy doesn't have a name yet, but I think this guy's another candidate for who the final boss of this series could be. And I say that because we see this guy in the first chapter. He's the first Hishaku member we're introduced to, and I also think he's the very first person we see using sorcery in this series. He has like that bonsai sorcery, whatever you want to call this. But not only that, he's also prominently displayed when we see the flashback of Chihiro experiencing his father's death. In my opinion, at least, it's kind of laid out that this guy actually is the one who killed Chihiro's father. Now, as for who ordered all of this, to kill Chihiro's father and take the enchanted blades, it was probably Yura, but like I said, the actual doing of the deed was probably this guy. But aside from that, he seems like he could straight up be like the number 2 of the Hishaku, or at least that's another implication I'm getting from him. But in the beginning here, we're seeing Yura, the leader of the Hishaku, talking to the high-collared Hishaku member, and they're going over what the Kabunabi strategy is to protect the enchanted blade users, because they're currently trying to take them out so that they can use the enchanted blades that they possess. The enchanted blades can only have one assigned user at a time. So once they kill the current users, then they can assign new users to them and increase their fighting power times like 100. And Yura figures that the Kabunabi are trying to fortify the power at each of the fortresses that they have, protecting each of the enchanted blade users as much as they can, to protect them from the Hishaku. And Yura points out that they're stretched thin if they're using Chihiro and Shiba, since they're not like actual Kabunabi guys. Yura makes this really interesting comment about Shiba, saying that there's a whole range of skill levels in the world of sorcerers and he's at the pinnacle, and that they really struggled to get past him 3 years ago. So this is really interesting because we know that Shiba is powerful. We know that he fought in the war, but we never knew exactly how powerful he was because he never went all out. He's kind of just been around assisting Chihiro, but never struggled or never really pushed that much. But he's always respected, and his ability seems very abusable, like his teleportation sorcery or whatever he truly can do. I don't think it's been fully explained yet. So it's pretty cool that Shiba is being hyped up as one of the, let's just say, top 5 strongest in the verse at this point. But that also makes me think that he for sure is going to be killed. I mean, I kind of got those vibes from him in the beginning, but now that they're mentioning that he's just too powerful, I think this kind of confirms that he's going to be killed for sure, because I guess he's kind of like that almighty Gojo-y type character of this series. The older one who's really powerful, comes from the previous generation, is a mentor to the MC. However, he's just too powerful, and that if he sticks around, then the MC will never be able to, achieve their MC-liness, if that makes sense. So for the story to logically progress and have stakes, you need to get rid of individuals like this. And of course, it's a great way to force character development on the MC, give them more motivations and whatnot, and to have a big, shocking, sad moment for the readers, of course. But going more into this conversation, Yura is talking about Hirohiko, the Hisaku member who's currently fighting against Chihiro. And he's essentially getting across here that they groomed Hirohiko to be one of their top Hisaku members, and that how they raised him and trained him led him to being all weird the way that he is now. The fact that he has like arrested development, why he doesn't have like the social cues and understanding that another person of his age would. He's currently the same age as Chihiro, 18, so it's one of the main reasons why he really resonates with Chihiro. Also why he thinks they're friends, because they both simply kill people, and he doesn't see the nuance in that the way that Chihiro does. But Yura also mentions that Hirohiko's gifts in battle are invaluable, and that his sorcery can hardly be called powerful, but he's evolved it to an amazing extent, and that he'll master an enchanted blade quickly. So yeah, this was their plan. They wanted to groom Hirohiko to have an enchanted blade. Also, I know that Hirohiko doesn't have arms right now because Chihiro cut them off in the previous chapter, but I'm assuming something's gonna happen, you know, some sorcery trickery, and I'm sure he'll get his arms back or something so that he inevitably can use the enchanted blade. And we know that the Hisaku, of course, all want to use the enchanted blades for themselves. Yura already mentioned that he wants the Shinuchi for himself, so we see that the other Hisaku members are basically just candidates to use the blade. We also find out from Hirohiko that there are 10 of them, which you didn't know before, and since there's only 7 enchanted blades, well, now there's 6 since I guess Cloud Gouger's destroyed. Not all members of the Hisaku will be able to use those blades. If they do, in theory, get all of them, aside from Chihiro's, but I'm sure eventually he'll lose it. But anyway, as Hirohiko is explaining the Hisaku's plan to Chihiro, we see that he is flying 2 of the enchanted blades using his origami sorcery. At the same time, he's saying all of this because I guess he just doesn't care. It doesn't matter if Chihiro knows all of this information because their plan is going to succeed anyway. Because like I said at the end of the chapter, ponytailed hat sorcerer shows up where Samura is. Samura, one of the enchanted blade users that Chihiro has been trying to protect. This is the trump card that Yura was talking about, I assume. So their plan is to use this ponytailed hat sorcerer guy to kill Samura. And at the same time that he kills Samura, the enchanted blade that was assigned to Samura will be handed off to Hirohiko, you know, by his paper cranes that are flying them to him. Because he says now everything's ready and soon we'll be on the same playing field, then we can really battle to the death as equals. So yeah, in the next couple chapters, unfortunately Samura is going to die, which I'm assuming most of us knew at this point. Then Hirohiko will get his blade and fight against Chihiro. This also means that Aruha is going to be killed too. However, I don't know who's going to get his enchanted blade. It very likely could be the ponytailed hat sorcerer guy. Maybe Hirohiko gets Aruha's blade and then the ponytailed guy gets Samura's blade, you know, since he's there. I like that course of action too. However, they need to make sure that the blade isn't too close to Samura while he's alive, because if Samura gets hold of the blade, you know, which he is the current possessor of, then he's unstoppable because he's already unstoppable with a regular sword. And at this point, we haven't really seen a true enchanted blade user at work. I mean, Chihiro is pretty powerful, but he's only been using it for like 3 years. And he wasn't really like a master swordsman before that. So Samura, who is like already one of the top 5 strongest or implied to be, using an enchanted blade would be insane. We might get to see it for a little bit, but obviously he just can't rampage too long because then he would just essentially defeat almost all of the Hisaku. So eventually, one way or another, he will be killed by the ponytail hat guy, and then I guess the ponytail hat guy is gonna get his enchanted blade. And then I assume that's how the rest of this arc or series more so is going to play out. We're going to see one by one the Hisaku members get control of the enchanted blade and setting them up as their own big final villains in their own right. Like all of the Akatsuki members getting buffs so that they're all set up for the end game. I guess that's what's happening here. But yeah, things are not looking good at this point, but let me know what do you think is going to happen in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.